46 and a third innings, giving up 16 walks and 49 against Orleans in the season opener.
Yeah, it was kind of a tough showing, but I mean that's the thing. Early on in the Cape Cod League baseball season, that's the thing we know. You have to have a short memory, and all these guys, I'm sure, have shaken that off.
And part of it as well is that you have so many guys change out, so you're actually really looking at a different team right now than who was on the field last night. So it's interesting to see how this particular configuration is going to be able to handle the field tonight. As this ball fouled off, count is full here to Luttrell.
Yeah, and again, we apologize for any technical difficulties. Still trying to get all of our gear all good to go this season, but everything good to go now. And again, looking forward to bringing you this game here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Pitch just catches the outside of the plate for strikeout number 1 from Shawver.
Well, just like last night, starting things off with a backwards K, and that's good to see. Shawver, again, that heightened sense of urgency coming into play here, and he comes home with the off speed. We'll get you a look at what he throws here in just a moment, but for now, looks like Brooks Elite stepping in here for YD.
Lee, the shortstop today for the Red Sox. Redshirt freshman out of Cal Poly. Takes a first pitch in for a strike. Second pitch, he'll take it. That misses the zone. 1-1.
And you'll see more patience out of these guys throughout the early parts of the season, just kind of trying to get a feel for, future major league pitching at all levels.
1-1 pitch is fouled back.
Starting to see guys get a little more aggressive, but especially through these first couple times through the order, you're going to see guys take that first pitch quite a bit. Just kind of get a better sense for what the guy is throwing. You don't see as many guys get super aggressive. It'll come throughout the season, but early on, again, everybody's still just trying to get a feel for what it's like to hit at this level.
The 1-2. That one skied over towards foul territory along the right field side. That's actually fair. That drops in. And standing on first is going to be Brooks Lee. I think that surprised a lot of people as it was just drifting towards that first base line. Ended up dropping fair.
Yeah, and those are the kinds of things that I feel like really hurt the Mariners. It was those balls that it seemed like when Harwich hit them, there was a guy in the area to make the play on the other side. Orleans got a couple of those to drop last night in the 8-1 victory. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out today. But again, those are the things you can't always control when it comes to how those breaks go.
Yeah, Harwich, they were not lucky when it came to facing off against that Orleans defense last night. They were pretty tight all around. And the first pitch to the new batter in Ferreras. Ferreras, the third baseman today for YD.
Yep, always looking to have an impact in this middle part of the lineup.
as we run you down the YD lineup. Batting after Ferreras, here in the 3 spot, we have Nathan Baez. In the 5 spot this afternoon is Peyton Graham over in left field. Cade Hunter, the catcher, he'll bat 6th. Tyler Williams, the center fielder, he'll bat 7th. Briley Knight, the right fielder, he'll bat 8th. And Wyatt Hoffman, the second baseman, he'll bat 9th. Shawver ahead in the count here, 0-2. Pitch misses the zone, 1-1. 1-2.
And you and I had a chance to talk to Coach Gruenberg, the pitching coach, of course, for the Harwich Mariners, and he said this is what guys need to do. They need to be aggressive, and they need to get ahead in counts. That's where guys started to get in trouble a little bit against Orleans last night when they fell behind.
Time called. Stepping back for a moment, Ferreras, as he looks to get set. He had a good night last night for YD. He had the 2 RBI single in the bottom of the 9th inning to tie the game against Brewster. He goes down swinging there, however. And there's 2 down now in the top of the 1st inning here at White House Field.
Well, and how about this, Tim? You're talking about 5 games that happened yesterday. 2 of them ended in ties. So right now you've got 4 teams on the Cape Cod Baseball League that have completed a game but have neither a win nor a loss.
And I think we're going to see that a lot more this season because of the rule change. The games end after 9 innings regardless of who's ahead or whether it be tied. No extras unless, of course, you're one of the final 4 to make it to the playoffs. I imagine at that point you will be playing extra innings. And so the count to the new batter in Baez sits at 1-0.
Yeah, a lot of interesting rule changes. We'll have a chance to talk about those, I'm sure, throughout the broadcast. But it's going to be an interesting season.
Ball chopped into center field. That's going to get down. A 2-out single to advance the runner to second. And there are 2 on base here for the next batter, Peyton Graham.
Yep, and again, these are the little things that have just kind of happened this season. Not necessarily a bad pitch. Shawver left it on the outside part of the plate. And just a nice little piece of hitting there down in the count. Pokes it out into center field, and 2 aboard here for the Red Sox.
First pitch into Graham. That's in for a strike. Graham out of Oklahoma, standing at 6'4", 185, the sophomore. 0-1 count here to Graham. Shawver stares back at second, kicks in, delivers, takes a bounce off the plate, gets past Winkle. That will advance both runners, so Lee now standing on third, Nathan Baez standing on second base. And it is a chance here with now 2 in scoring position for YD to drive in some runs with a base knock.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, if on the Harwich end of things, you've got 2 away. You just have to focus up here and get 1 more guy. Looks like Shawver electing to continue pitching out of the stretch, although that's his setup for the most part. We don't typically see Shawver go to the windup ever.
Shawver delivers, and that got him. Kicked off his foot, bounced towards the backstop, so that will load the bases.
You know, I realize it might be a little bit weird to say, but I think that's actually probably a good thing that came off of his foot, because where that was, it had a pretty good chance to get past Winkle. At least this way, again, you've got to force it any bag, and you don't have a ball back to the backstop and a run coming across to score. But these are the kinds of moments that a guy like Evan Shawver is going to have to capitalize on, again, trying to get himself out of a bit of a jam.
And he'll face off against Cade Hunter, the catcher for the Red Sox. Freshman out of Virginia Tech. Batting .230 in his career over at Virginia Tech. A 1-0 count here as Shawver leans in. Winkle giving the signs behind the plate. Mariners wearing their traditional home cream jerseys. YD wearing the red tops and white bottoms. Pitch misses the zone. 2-0.
And this is where it's good to have a guy like Pat Winkle out there calling the signs. He's been here before. He knows how to settle down a pitcher like Shawver. And again, you know, it's that extra sense of calm that he's going to bring to the table with a 2-0 count here.
The 2-0. Again, missing outside. This one hopping away from Winkle. He'll control it. It's not going to get too far. And the count now goes to 3-0. Nowhere to put Hunter. A walk drives in a run here.
And especially this early in the season, I wouldn't necessarily be shocked, especially with a guy like Hunter at the dish, if he's got the green light.
3-0 pitch. Does catch the outside part of the plate. First strike of the at-bat dealt to Hunter.
Maybe not that much confidence. Apparently, bat clearly on the shoulder there on a 3-0 count, but now he'll be swinging away, and Schaber is going to have to be very cautious with this next pitch.
3-1 pitch swung on and missed. Count runs full.
I like it. Schaber reaching back for a little something extra there, breezes the fastball by him, and now we'll see what he has for a full count with the payoff pitch coming.
Schaber delivers. Swung on and missed. Got him. Third strikeout of the inning. And with the bases loaded, YD can't drive any home. It's 0-0 after a half inning. We'll bring you the Mariners lineup and the YD defense in the bottom half of the inning in just a minute. We'll go to break. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Let's run you down the Mariners starting lineup at the plate. Leading off, the center fielder from Coastal Carolina, Nick Lucky. The third baseman from Wake Forest, Brock Wilken. The left fielder from LSU, Cade Beloso. The first baseman out of Georgia Tech, Andrew Jenkins. The catcher out of UConn, Pat Winkle. Tatum Levens out of Pitt. He'll be the designated hitter in the 6th spot. Josh Hood out of NC State. He's the shortstop in the 7th spot. Hal Hughes out of Rice. He'll be the 8th spot batter today. And Press Kavanaugh over in right field out of UNCG. He's batting in the 9th spot. Defense for YD looks like this. Behind the plate doing the catching for Drew Thorpe on the mound is going to be Cade Hunter. Chase Luttrell over at first. Wyatt Hoffman at second. Brooks Lee at short. Pascanel Ferreras over at third. Peyton Graham at left. Tyler Williams in center and Briley Knight in right. First pitch seen by Nick Lucky, sent up the middle, picked up by the shortstop Lee. Throw on to first in time. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Yeah, an efficient start here, a dream start, if you will, here for Drew Thorpe. But again, for Harwich, it's just going to be a matter of stringing some hits together, something they didn't do a great job of yesterday. But again, it's a one-game sample size here in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and as I'm sure you know, again, it's a baseball season. It's going to be a 40-game grind, and really nothing that happened yesterday has any forbearing going forward. Good to start trying to build some momentum here in the early parts of the season.
And that's one of the things that's so interesting about the Cape League, as the first pitch dealt here to Brock Wilken is inside. This is the first taste that a lot of these guys really get at playing baseball on a daily basis, on a daily grind like this. Because with college, you're doing only so many weekend series. As this ball shot foul along the left field side, you now have a chance to go back to the batting cages every single day, play a game every night, get into that routine of what it's like, and kind of get a taste for a bit of that major league life here early on.
Yeah, it certainly is kind of a preview. You've also got the wooden bats as opposed to the aluminum bats in college, as we got a pitch here that'll be taken down and inside by the aforementioned Brock Wilken. And you also have a lot of guys that, they're the standout superstar on their team, but man, you come to the Cape. It's a humbling experience early on because everybody you're playing against has the same amount of talent as you do.
You'll have a lot of guys who don't find who have a lot of success in their collegiate careers on their collegiate teams, who perhaps it takes them a little bit to get used to the Cape, or maybe even all summer long they don't really find their footing. You have guys who are going to fail, who have never really failed before in their careers because they've always been the guy. That's how you get here. And so that's just something to always keep an eye out for this summer is who is the guys who are playing well, of course, as it's a full count here dealt to Wilkin. Pitch from Thorpe is fouled off towards the backstop. Count stays full.
Just to go back and kind of finish that thought a little bit here, though, you also have guys that I will say the Cape League is the best thing that ever happened to them. Maybe they had an average season in 2021, but they're going to come in here and tear it up. And I'll tell you what, we've seen more guys' draft stock go through the roof because of this league than anything else.
3-2 pitch runs in on Wilkin. That makes contact with him, and that is the third time in 2 games that Brock Wilkin has been hit by a pitch. So earning his way on base. He only failed to reach base in a single at-bat so far this season. He struck out in the 6th inning yesterday at Orleans. Other than that, he is 5 for 6 in regards to getting on base.
Well, I'll tell you what, as Cade Beloso here steps to the plate, that's now the 5th Mariners batter that's been hit so far through 10 innings. I understand that it's early on and these pitchers are trying to find their footing, but my goodness, that is an interesting stat here early in the season.
First pitch dealt to the new batter, Cade Beloso, out of LSU, is a ball, 1-0.
Yeah, Beloso, another one of those guys that had a good day yesterday. 2 for 3 for him, looking to keep that streak going and, again, build some momentum here early.
Swings and misses, 1-1.
That'll be a good chance to give us a look here at what Drew Thorpe has on offer today. Take a look at his toolkit, a fastball, a slider, and a wipeout changeup. And that's the pitch that he really likes to go to put guys away. So keep an eye on that if he gets ahead 1-2 here.
1-1 pitch, and there it is. Got him to swing at it. Makes it a 1-2 count.
Yep, 82 miles an hour. Really quickly, also want to note the beautiful new scoreboard out in center field. That is great to have here, and we'll have the radar gun active throughout the season, so a little more detail up here in the booth on our end as well.
Absolutely gorgeous, as a lot of work put in by the Mariners in the town of Harwich. Of course, Monomoy Sharks listed on there as well. Definitely a nice asset to have here for this field. Very deserving. A 2-2 count. Thorpe delivers. That misses, and for the second straight batter, the count is full.
Yeah, and you see him kind of playing with the off-speed a little bit here. Nothing too overpowering, about 92 miles an hour on the fastball, but really trying to mix in that off-speed once he's got the command of it down.
Swing and a miss, got him to go. And there are 2 down now. That's the first strikeout of the day for Thorpe.
Yep, and there it is. Pulls the string that time on Cade Beloso. He's way out ahead of it. Really nothing he's going to be able to do about that. And now he will pitch to the first baseman, Andrew Jenkins.
Jenkins, the yellow jacket out of Georgia Tech, stands about 6 foot flat. And ball finds its way in for a strike.
Sky looks threatening today. It's definitely a nice day for some baseball at about 72 degrees, but a lot of cloud cover here. We're hoping everybody that's not in a press box like this can stay dry today.
Swung on and missed and pushes it to an 0-2 count. And weather, another factor, I don't believe we've mentioned it today. Of course, if any games to get rained out or canceled for whatever reason on any given day, it's not to be made up this season. So a short season made even shorter by the lack of makeup days. As the count sits here at 0-2 with 2 outs. The 0-2 pitch up high misses, 1-2 now.
Yeah, if there is one thing to kind of take away from that Orleans game, one negative to really focus on, I think the strikeout count is going to have to come down. Obviously, the guy's still settling in, but 9 strikeouts yesterday against Orleans. That's going to have to be tightened up here.
Ball hit on the ground over towards the third base side, crawling the line, throw to first, pulls him off the bag, and everybody's safe. First base umpire Frank Auditore making the call, saying that the first baseman Luttrell was pulled off, and so now you have runners on first and second with 2 outs. And a familiar situation for the Mariners. They had runners on in scoring position with 2 outs through the first couple of innings yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, that was the big number to take away other than the strikeouts. This is a team that stranded 12 runners in the season opener, 5 of them in scoring position, and they left them loaded in the top of the ninth. So trying to, again, string the hits together here, and that's what the Mariners are looking to do. Move him around, get him in. With 2 away, you got a veteran at the plate here in Pat Winkle. He knows his way around this league.
But you talk about that number. I mean, they're getting enough guys on base as this ball is cracked down the first base line. Foul. Runners will go back.
Yeah, but it's not really a big surprise that they didn't bring him in, because the other interesting note to make is that yesterday the Mariners had 16 base runners. They only had 5 hits. They found a way to get on every other way, but the hits were not coming. So it's not like they had been putting themselves in great positions through their bats. They had just been doing a good job of remaining patient, or in a lot of cases getting plunked 4 times in yesterday's season opener. As the 0-1 will miss down and away here to Pat Winkle. You and I had a chance to visit with Winkle before this game, and, again, a guy that knows his way around here, but he did note that he very quickly went from being one of the only freshmen on this Mariners team back in 2019 to now being one of the veterans seemingly overnight.
Yeah, it's rare enough you get a guy who comes back to the Cape League for a second season. As the pickoff attempt over to second, he got him. Thorpe was looking back over at Lee at short, threw it back, and standing on second, Brock Wilkin got caught out. And that ends the inning with Winkle at the plate, so he'll be due up next time around for the Mariners. But Brock Wilkin caught out on the pickoff attempt. Quick reflexes from Thorpe and Lee alike. We move now to the top of the second inning. 0-0 to score between YD and Harwich. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back with you now. Top of the second inning we go. Williams stepping in for YD out of Arkansas. Takes the first pitch outside for a ball. Give you the umpires for today as well, with Frank Auditore making that call over at first. He's the first base umpire. Mike Rabideau over at third, and Mark Piantadosi doing the balls and strikes behind the plate. Count now 1-1. Fouled back. Bounces off the ground. Winkle has to step out and get it.
Yeah, and again, Schaber's got to feel a little bit more confident. He does technically strike out the side. He does give up a couple of runners in between there. And also a quick correction, I mentioned he doesn't typically work out of the windup. Schaber does work out of the windup, but the base is empty, as you see the big lefty kick and fire now.
Next pitch in, misses. 2-2 now the count.
And you can see, 2 years have really changed the outlook here for Evan Schaber.
And down goes Williams. 4th strikeout in as many outs in the game so far. This brings up Briley Knight.
Yeah, Schaber's pitching with a confidence that I don't remember seeing him have back in 2019. And again, not to say he wasn't confident, but you see right now, he is cool, calm, and collected. Even with the bases loaded, this is not a guy that's going to get shaken easily.
As Knight shies away from the pitch, but The call is a strike, so he's ahead 0-1.
Some nasty movement on that, and that's that. It's for lack of a better term, it's a slurve that you'll see here out of Evan Shaver.
Ball hit on the ground. Shaver lets it go by him. Picked up by Hughes at second. Throw on to first. Not in time. And safe on first is going to be Knight. It's a one-out single.
I mean, again, you look at what they've gotten so far for their base runners. There was a little flare out to right field. It wasn't hit particularly well. There was a ball poked into center that was a good piece of hitting. A walk, a hit by pitch, and now an infield single. So nobody's really squaring things up particularly well against Shaver in this game. But, again, Whitey finding ways to get base runners, and Shaver will now work out of the stretch again, trying to settle in and get 2 more outs.
Ball cracked out to right field. That lands down in foul territory.
But really quickly, just to go back to that slurve that I talked about here for Evan Shaver, he's got a fastball and a changeup, but he also has what Coach Berger referred to as a slurve. Some days it moves more like a slider, some days it moves more like a curveball. It really just kind of depends on the conditions. Doesn't really change in the way that he grips it, but the movement can be different from time to time, and that definitely throws hitters off balance, as you saw in that last batter.
Check over to first, not in time. And you mentioned he's pitching with more authority, and he's another one of these guys, as you've said, you don't remember him having that kind of presence, but you kind of expect to see it almost from these returners, especially with the gap year in between, as that's even more rare to expect a player to come back having missed an entire year between Cape seasons. So especially interesting with Shaver on the mound. Excellent to see him pitching well so far.
Well, and I mentioned again, I mean, Shaver was one of the first guys cut for this Mariner squad. You want to come out and state your case for staying on the team. I'd say 4 strikeouts through the first 4 outs of the game is certainly a good way to do that.
He's looking for number 5 here, ahead in the count, 0-2. Pick over to first. Thought about diving back to the bag, and Knight is able to do so quickly enough. 0-2 the count still. Hoffman, the lefty, waiting. Swings and misses. Gets him for strikeout number 5.
I mean, Evan Shaver is absolutely cooking right now. He has got the off-speed in command. He's been blowing fastballs past guys. I mean, he has got everything that he wants working right now, and it has been a delightful sight to see. The question now is, will he look as good the second time through the lineup as Whitey flips the book back to Chase Luttrell?
Luttrell struck out looking to open up the game. So he's gotten a look at Shaver already. Pitches in, swing and a miss. 81 on the outside part of the plate. Shaver looks back over at first, makes a lazy toss over to make sure that Knight stays put.
And I think we mentioned YD was actually one of those teams that had a draw in their first contest yesterday. The only team in the East that picked up a win were the Orleans Firebirds. This ball's struck out into foul territory. See Beloso give it a little bit of a chase, but run out of real estate well before he gets to the line. So yeah, it's an interesting scenario right now. You look at the Eastern Conference standings. You have Orleans at 1-0, and then you have 3 teams that drew yesterday. Brewster and YD tying each other. Chatham getting a tie with Falmouth. And then Harwich right now in the very early basement. That means ultimately nothing at 0-1.
The 0-2 pitch takes a bounce in the chalk in the left-hand batter's box. Count now moves to 1-2.
Also worth noting, Pat Winkle coming off of, and again, I'm going to go back and double check what exactly it was, but I know he's missed some time due to surgery. So good to see Winkle back out and good to go here. Getting some more exposure here in the Cape Cod Baseball League season.
Runner goes, ball drops. And it looks like he got a piece of it, so having to move back to first is going to be Knight.
And again, an elbow surgery for Pat Winkle. was a while ago, but again, sometimes those injuries, it takes longer than you would think to be back and fully healthy. So definitely a good chance again for him to raise his stock this season.
Swing and a miss, strikeout number 6. All 6 outs recorded by the Mariners thus far have been recorded by Evan Shawver by way of K. We move now to the bottom of the 2nd inning, where the Mariners' bats will come up. It'll be Pat Winkle, Tatum Levens, and Josh Hood due up for the M's. We'll be back. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners on the Mariners YouTube Network.
Number 2, Tatum Levens.
And it's Pat Winkle who will lead it off for the Mariners. His at-bat, of course, got cut short last time to end the 1st inning.
Pat Winkle will lead it off for the Mariners.
After Brock Wilken was picked off at second base, so he'll get a chance here to have another at-bat.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity as Winkle takes the first pitch outside. I mean, yeah, it was 2 outs, but the Mariners had a runner in scoring position, and again, that's the one bag you really don't want to get picked off on. You get picked off on the corners, it's not great, but you get picked off at second, that's rough as Winkle swings at a pitch about eye level. Count goes here to 1-1. But right now, Tim, I would argue the storyline of this game so far has been Evan Shawver. The kid's been unstoppable.
Absolutely, as Winkle ropes one into right field, one hop into the glove of Knight, and the leadoff man's on for the Mariners. But you're absolutely right. Shawver is dealing so far, to say the least, for Harwich. 6 strikeouts through the first 2 innings. That's as many as you can get, of course, without a catcher dropping a pitch and manipulating it, as I believe Kumar Rocker had 10 strikeouts through the first 3 innings in a game earlier for Vanderbilt. I don't know if we'll see something like that, perhaps.
Yeah, the old drop third strike rule can come into play, certainly, but probably not going to happen with Winkle behind the dish.
As the first pitch to Levens, yesterday's catcher, misses for a ball.
YD stranding a lot of runners here early on as well. That could come back to bite them as they left him loaded back in the first.
Ball fouled back, count here at 1-1.
Tell you what, too, if Evan Shawver keeps this up, his infielders might just jog out there with lawn chairs. Pitch a tent. They got nothing else to do.
That's the thing you got to be careful of. When your pitcher is pitching well, the infield as a defense, you have to stay ready because you never know when a guy might get a hold of a pitch and send one right your way. 2-1 count.
Absolutely, and right now, Harwich trying to get him some run support, which is something that, again, early on doesn't really make a difference as the team struggled in the season opener, but a very short memory coming back and looking to get on the scoreboard, trying to strike first here.
A swing and a miss, 2-2, and I think that's part of why we see a bit of the lineup change. I mean, Beloso and Wilken yesterday, each 2 for 3. Wilken, he was already in the 3 spot, bump him up to 2. Beloso now, he's batting third. He was yesterday, all the way back in the 7 spot. So putting those 2 guys together, hoping for some action as a 3-2 count now with a runner on first.
Well, this is also a chance to experiment with a couple of younger guys and a couple of guys that, again, are here on temp contracts trying to play their way into a full-time role with the team. But this is when you find out what you have and what they're capable of. Swung
on and missed. Down goes Levens. Second strikeout of the day thrown by Thorpe.
And I'll tell you what, Thorpe has had that off-speed working all evening so far. He has looked, I mean, he's had guys out ahead of quite a bit. A 10-mile-an-hour drop-off between his fastball and his off-speed, and that has really hurt Harwich here the first time through the lineup.
Now we have the shortstop, Josh Hood. Hood out of NC State takes the first pitch inside.
It's also interesting. I know it's kind of a point we're going to bring up a lot early in the season, but talking about some of these temp guys, when we got the original roster for the Harwich Mariners this season, there were no catchers on it. All three of the catchers are on temporary contracts right now. So that's one of those big position battles to keep an eye on. Is you see Hood foul this pitch back to the screen, that'll even the count at 1-1. And especially when you have a veteran like Winkle, you feel like the vibe is that the job could go to him, but it's anyone's game this early in the season. You got to show up and perform every day.
Certainly. I mean, we saw Levens had a great arm yesterday, and we're yet to see McKeithen behind the plate, as he is the other catcher on this Mariners lineup. And Josh Hood did go. Home plate umpire Piantadosi will say. McKeithen, of course, out of Charlotte.
Hood, of course, getting his first action here in the Cape Cod Baseball League, did not make an appearance yesterday. So one of the guys getting his feet wet here in the most competitive summer baseball league in the country.
And he was supposed to be here last year as he calls for time. It was actually settled in the summer going into his freshman year at Penn that he wanted to come down to the Cape League. They locked it in for 2020. Of course, season canceled, put off, and he's here now.
Yeah, Hood, he's kind of he hasn't been able to catch a break, because you're talking about a guy that, again, he was supposed to be at Penn, and then, of course, the Ivy League prematurely canceling their 2021 season. So he tries to transfer to NC State, but, of course, with the eligibility rules, he can't play then. So this is some of the first real reps that he's had at this level, as this will make it a 3-2 count. Again, not only losing that 2020 season, but also losing the 2021 season. So kind of just an unfortunate scenario for him. But, again, I mean, the Cape Cod Baseball League is one of the best places to kind of prove your mettle, and Hood with his first at-bat and a 3-2 count, this will be a big pitch coming up to him.
Thorpe deciding on a pitch, delivers. This one hit by Hood towards the gap in left center. That's going to get down. Picked up by Graham out in left. And there are runners on first and second now with one out.
And this is what you like to see. The Mariners have had 4 base runners in this game. This time they're doing it with their bats. They've got 3 hits for those 4 base runners, and an opportunity now with one away, and Hal Hughes at the dish. And Colin Casey mentioned during our pregame stand-up, of course, that this is a team that Hal Hughes saw pretty well back in 2019, especially in the playoffs. He had a monster home run over the left field fence, and I'll tell you what, Tim, I don't think I've ever seen a team more excited than the Mariners were that summer when he hit that home run to send them to the Cape Cod League final.
Oh, anytime you have any kind of playoff drama, teams eat that up. As Hughes chases after one there, cannot find it, 0-1.
Yeah, and of course Hughes, again, not a guy that's known for his power. I mean, he's usually, if he's going to give you a knock, it's going to be up the middle somewhere. He's not typically the kind of guy to drive it over the left field fence, but he dropped it over the banners back in 2019. Doesn't have to do that here. Just has to find his way on base and keep the line moving, get it to Press Kavanaugh.
First pitch in the dirt, blocked nicely by the catcher, Hunter.
Yeah, not really sure what's happening here, but you do see Drew Thorpe a little less comfortable with his off speed. He's dropped a couple in front of home plate that have hit the dirt in front of the white spot there. So see if he can settle in and come back with a good pitch here, 1-1.
The 1-1 pitch. Got him to chase after that one as well, down low. 1-2.
And he just hasn't looked comfortable on these 2 swings and misses. Again, I'm not sure if it's something with his rhythm. I'm not sure what's going on, but he's going to need to settle in here and maybe shorten up on the bat a little bit with a 1-2 count. Plenty of options here for Drew Thorpe to try to get the K.
The 1-2, again down low. That will even the count up at 2 apiece.
Yeah, missing everything down right now. And again, you look at where the middle infielders are playing, certainly in a position where they can turn the double play ball if Hughes pulls the ball to the shortstop. So keeping things down right now, trying to get himself out of the inning with 1 pitch, is Drew Thorpe.
2-2 pitch. Hughes hits it down the third base line. Running over to tag the bag is Ferreras, and that's all there will be, as the throw over to first is not on target.
And he drops it. It was a decent throw. I'm not 100% sure if it would have gotten Hughes, but either way, he can't keep it in his glove over there at first base. And so on the fielder's choice, Hal Hughes will reach, and another guy getting his first look here in the Cape League. Press Kavanaugh did have a pinch hit appearance yesterday. He flew out to the first baseman. But getting his first start here in the CCBL 2021 season.
Kavanaugh out of UNC Greensboro. So as it stands right now, Hood on second base after he got on with the single, advanced on Hughes's knock there. Hughes standing on first. Kavanaugh swings at the first pitch he sees, and it is an 0-1 count.
And that changeup has just been so dirty. I mean, again, we've brought it up time and time again, but we're talking about a guy with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, and then he'll come back at you with a changeup that comes in at 75. I mean, it's so hard to lay off that pitch.
Both pitchers looking good so far in this one. A 1 delivery is outside. Pitching away from Kavanaugh there. Kavanaugh this year at UNCG batting .230 across 52 games played. Had 19 extra base hits, including 8 home runs, so he's got some pop to him. Does like to go after it. A big cut there makes it a 1-2 count.
Yeah, and another one of those guys.